What's up, y'all? I'm your host, Taylor Onion, and this is Hang Time. We are switching it up a little bit this week and re-releasing an episode of the Bloom Pod with one of my favorite people, Holly Stalcup, certainly one of my favorite bosses. Holly gave me my start in college athletics years ago working in event management, and she has since moved on to the college football playoff. This episode is from 2021, and you can hear her talking about some of the exciting things the college football playoff was up to at that time as far as stadium operations and events go. But please enjoy this re-release of an episode with Holly Stalcup. This is the Bloom Pod, and I'm Taylor Onion.
And I'm Melissa Lutz.
Each episode, we bring you an interview with an everyday person who is chasing big dreams. I interview the guests for the first part of the show, and then Melissa and I come together and recap some of the main points at the end.
With the occasional shenanigan.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm just so excited to be able to catch up in general because it's been a while. We know each other because you were my first real boss, and we were just talking offline about how long that has actually been. Back in 2013, you gave me my start in college athletics and my first events experience, which has continued on throughout my career, as we often talk about. But Holly, I'm pumped to have you here. How are you, first of all?
Well, first, thank you, Taylor, for having me. I am well, thank you. And as I said, when I hired you, and to this day I do, your events for life. So you can't get out of event management. That's what we say. So no, I'm honored to be here and part of your podcast. But I'm doing well. Thanks. It's kind of a busy time right now, getting into closer and closer to bowl season and hopefully, national championship. So it's been busy, but I'm enjoying it.
Good. Well, we're going to get there. We're going to talk not about, some of the topics associated with the CFP, but we're going to talk more about, events and things that go on with that. But I want to start by having you kind of give us the maybe 30-second synopsis of Holly Stalcup.
Got it. All right. 30 seconds. Let's go. Well, I'm from Illinois and I went to undergrad and grad school at the University of Illinois and is how I became aware of Miss Taylor Onion, first on the volleyball court and then in our event management department. So I'm fortunate that I have 2 degrees from the University of Illinois, an undergrad in athletic training and a master's in sports management. I got my start in the Illinois ticket office as a GA for 1 year. And then after that, had the good fortune of starting off in event management as an event coordinator, and then lucky enough just to keep moving up at Illinois and leaving as an associate AD for event management. I always say you either love event management or you hate it. There's probably no in between. As we know, it's a lot of hours and a lot of work and a lot of things that goes into it. But I'm one of those crazy ones, I guess, that really loves it and have stuck with it the whole time. So that's a little synopsis of me.
I always tell people when I'm explaining, because a lot of times I'll get the question, right? So how'd you start in athletics? Have you always been in academics? Those kind of things. And when I talk about switching from event management over to academics and student athlete development and all that good stuff, my go-to, I feel like, sentence that I use all the time is that I loved the event management staff that I worked with at Illinois. That it was just a good group. It was a fun, we had a lot of fun in the office and during game days and all that kind of good stuff. But that there was something that was missing for me that wasn't quite there. And I would say that I look over at Holly and I see the fun that she is having. I see on game days, right? There's this spark in your eye and you're like, oh man, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to orchestrate everything that's happening. And so I'm seeing this, right, as a GA, and I'm like, okay, so it is possible to love your job. I'm not getting that feeling from doing this. So I got to find the space in athletics that I am going to feel doing that. And then, of course, as we've talked about, I did fall back into some level of event management and logistics with student athlete enhancement anyway. So full circle.
No, that's so true. And I think, what you said first, though, the people, I think that just makes it regardless of what area you're in and what you're doing. And I always stress, and I hope you would say the thing, that we try to have fun, even though you're working long hours and doing it. And again, I probably looked crazy. I'm like, let's hang bunting. As you said, like, I like doing this stuff and I can just, doing that and you probably watching. But I always knew too, and we talked about this, that your heart and joy was helping and being giving back to student athletes. But I think, as I've always said, event management is great for the basis. It gives us time management, communication skills, working with so many different people and balancing what everyone wants. And it was a great, I think, start for many people, event management. And then you can take that on to whatever area interests you.
Yeah. Well, and for me, that's exactly what happened. If I didn't have the event management experience that I had gotten with you at Illinois, I don't think I would have, been able to do what I did at USF the past 4 years before changing over this summer. So definitely a good foundation for a career jumping off standpoint, all those good things. You did skip over one thing that I want to touch on. You did not mention your athletic training experience. And so I got to know, because you made the move from athletic training into tickets and then events and all those great things. So
I did.
Why the jump?
I realized that while we were talking. So yeah, my undergrad was in athletic training. And during that, I actually wanted to be an athletic trainer for a ballet company, was what I wanted to end up with.
For ballet, like dance ballet?
Yes.
Okay.
At one point, thought I was going to go get my master's in athletic training and do that for a ballet company. But I did it for 4 years in undergrad, one of which I spent a whole year with the volleyball team. And so, I loved it. I probably couldn't tape a great ankle right now anymore, but maybe I could do a heel lock or something. But it was one of those. It's a good thing when you're bored, I guess, as an athletic trainer, because it means people aren't hurt or you're not, doing exercises to get rehab and get someone back out on the field. But I was bored. And so, again, it was great, similar to what you said about event management for you. Athletic training really gave me that foundation. And I realized I probably wanted to do something that was more interactive. And I love all the different puzzle pieces that event management has. So when I finished up, actually, my senior year, another portion I skipped of my 30-second intro, I guess, was
I didn't give you much time. 30 seconds is not much time. I need to expand that.
It's all right. But the Chicago Bears played a season at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. I was lucky enough to work that my senior year and help out the event management side of things. And why I got that opportunity, I guess I should have said too, is I answered phones at the front desk of the Illinois athletic department. So I've had quite a few different jobs while there in Illinois athletics. And so that really gave me my first insight into what event management was, having that Bear season and also then helping with Illinois football season. And that's, I think, where the light bulb went off and it switched for me. But then I did spend a year in the ticket office, which I recommend. Now tickets are different now. They're all mobile. But before that, you had to print them all, rip them, mail them out. So that was a fabulous experience that I loved as well. But I think event management, again, was just one of those things where I felt at home, at peace, excited to go to work every day, and just seeing all the different pieces come together in this final product, whether it be a basketball game, a volleyball match, football game. And I just enjoyed seeing all that. And so I think I caught the bug and I've never left since.
Right. You've been in it for a minute. So with that, I want to ask, what do you think is one thing that all event managers should know?
You're not in it for the recognition, I would say. So, when you first sit in that sports management class and they ask who wants to be an agent, who wants to be an athletic, every hand goes up. A lot of hands don't go up. Who wants to be in event management?
Right.
But I think, that's because we're the behind the scenes thing. We don't want to be recognized, and we don't want you to know what we did when you come to a game. We want you to just come to the game, enjoy it, and leave and not think about any of it. And that means we did our job well. So you have to be in it for the right reasons, I would say. So for those looking to get maybe into it, that's something to remember. But a lot of times too, I just think it's like a balancing act. Sometimes we're called the fun police because we have to say no to a lot of things, but we try to see the big picture of it and know that everyone has their different agendas and what they want to accomplish, and all towards the common goal is what you got to remember. But we just kind of look at the overall picture. So I think those of us in event management can see the big picture, don't have blinders on, focusing on a certain area, but how does everything interweave together, and how can we put on the best product, whatever it is, not only for our fans, but the student athletes participating in it, and everyone involved in it.
I think having experience in events and then moving on to something else afterward, or even attending an event right now, how often are you going to a sporting event and you're like, this should have been different at the beginning, or even a regular? I mean, I can't think of how many events I've been to where that's kind of stuff pops into my brother was married in May of this year, and they're like, oh, what should we do with these lights, or how should we fix this kind of stuff? And I'm like, I got it. This is going to make the most sense.
Oh, right. I mean, it ruins you as a fan.
Yes.
If you saw my camera roll on my phone, it's like pictures of garbage cans and signage. I mean, people might think I'm crazy walking around, but it totally does. You're like, oh, that flyover was late, or this and that, kind of thing. You're always watching that. One, I'm watching it because I love learning from other events. And so you try to steal some great ideas from everyone. Oh, but it totally does. It's really hard to be a fan and to sit around fans, I guess, that, who are yelling and different things. But I still do enjoy just going to events when you're not working, but it really changes you as a fan. That's for sure.
Yeah. I remember you used to tell us that if we did our jobs leading up to game day, that game day should be very smooth. We shouldn't really have to worry about too much.
That is true.
Definitely true.
Cross those T's. That's what we said. So.
That's right. And I'm sure that is the case now with the college football playoff and your position with stadium operations. I'm gonna mess this up, but you are the director of stadium operations, and there's another piece to it, is there not?
Yeah, stadium and game operations.
Stadium and game operations for the CFP. Awesome. So What prompted the move? Obviously, you had spent your whole career at Illinois, from undergraduate all the way up to associate AD. What prompted the move to jump somewhere else and do something else?
Yeah, it was a tough decision because, like you said, all I knew was Illinois. I went as an 18-year-old freshman thinking I was going for 4 years, and 20 years later, I left. And, I have to say I got the chance of this opportunity because of Illinois. I mean, I learned so much at my time there, meeting people and the great foundation that was given to me and that I learned from. I think it was one of those, I'm a person that needs to be challenged, and it was just time for something different, I think. Again, I didn't want to leave because of the people and the teams and the student athletes. Like, I loved that and being a part of that, a team kind of feeling. But it was one of those, I knew if I passed on this opportunity, I would probably regret it. Not that it was easy at all. Again, as you mentioned, all I knew was Illinois. I was going to move to Texas where I knew no one, and away from family and different things. But I've always led, I guess, with my heart in making those decisions. And I think deep down, I knew that this was what was next for me and what was best at that time. Not that it was better. It was just best at that time for me and for the opportunities that I think could come from CFP when I thought about it. So again, and looking back now, sometimes you're like, oh, I missed that event or I missed this. But for me, this is the place I'm supposed to be. Like, it's all worked out. And so I've never had any regrets. But again, it's because of the opportunity that I had at Illinois and has allowed me to be in this position. It was a lot of, yay, here, should I do this? Should I not do this? A lot of sleepless nights to figure out what I should do, but really happy and glad I made this choice to move over to Texas and to the CFP.
The people who make their decisions with logic are just like itching at their necks right now, right? Hearing that you made a decision based on heart. But I do the same thing. It's based off of vibes. When people ask, a few years ago, I had 2 or 3 different opportunities that completely different. I mean, Colorado, Florida, and somewhere in the Midwest. I can't even remember what it was, but people are like, oh, Colorado, how could you not? I'm like, I don't know. It didn't feel right. I don't know how to explain it to you.
And like, oh, yeah. And I said that with mine. And I still say this just to the day to these people at the CFP. Like, I came and I knew, like, I was home.
Yeah.
And it was like serendipity almost, in that I left the interview. I called my parents, and it turns out my mom worked in the same building when she traveled. All these little things were just like, Holly, this is like, it's telling you, like, this is perfect. And it was because of people at CFP that made that decision easy.
Yep. That's awesome. So walk me through, I told you we get into this a little bit later. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day who was talking with somebody who works for the Peach Bowl or Citrus Bowl or something like that. And they were saying, or those people must be really bored, right? On like a random Tuesday in April, there can't be anything going on. They probably only work several months out of the year. And I'm like, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's right. So obviously you're headed into the most busy time of the year with the CFP, but walk us through a day in the life.
Yeah. And funny thing is, we get that question a lot. Like, tell someone like where you work, and they're like, that's a full-time job. And I'm like, yes, it is. So it is. I mean, it keeps us busy, all of us at CFP all year, because not only are we working on the game that we're currently in for this year, so this year being Indianapolis, we're also working on like the upcoming year. So LA in 2023 and Houston in 2024. So we're always planning ahead. So that keeps you busy as well. But there's so much that goes into it. Not only is there just there's a game, but then there's all these events surrounding the game, and there's hospitality events and all this. So it does take a lot of time for a lot of different people. And so I think for us too, the busy thing is just that we don't live in where the game's going to be. So we rely on an expert stadium staff in my case, and great planning partners that we work with that are experts in what they do, whether it be pageantry, transportation, or all the different things. And I say what I am is kind of a juggler. I juggle all those different planning partners in the stadium and keep them all in the air and in balance. And that really does take all year, because again, we hope we put on a show and a game and an event that is memorable, and one that's at a high level. And so it does take all year. As I always say, little things make big things happen. So really diving into those details, and that takes time.
I'm imagining you as a conductor of an orchestra, but more like what is that movie? Fantasia with Mickey Mouse. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where there's like things splashing around as he's conducting.
Funny thing, I think that's in my cover letter, like when I applied, like being the director of the orchestra. So yeah, right, spot on.
Right. We're on the same page there for sure. What would you say? From the outside looking in, I would say probably the most exciting part of your job is actual game day, right? The national championship and that kind of thing. But maybe that's not the case. From your perspective, what's the most exciting thing about your job?
Yeah, I would say that's the cherry on top maybe of everything is game day. Like and we said this when we worked together, Taylor, at Illinois, is we don't know what the score of the game is a lot of times. I remember when you'd help with parking and you told me the only way you knew what the score was when the fireworks went off, of what the score was inside. And so, I think that's similar. Like, it's hard for me to watch the game, but I'm watching everything else that I know how long it took so many people and hours to put this together on game day. And that's really what keeps me going, and it excites me. I think another thing I really enjoy about my current position is the work with ESPN. I really enjoy that production side of it. So working with ESPN production and ESPN studio and everything that goes into that to put our game on TV for millions to view. I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. And not only the work that goes into that, but the relationships and the people I've met through that. So I think that's an area I've enjoyed. And also too, some of the things we do that I didn't before on a college campus maybe went more towards the marketing side of things, where now I get to help with pageantry and run of show that I didn't have before. I've also enjoyed that. So apologize, I didn't give you one thing. I gave you a lot of things, but yeah. Those are the biggest things I enjoy.
I'm having a hard time believing that somebody who loves Broadway musicals is into pageantry and run of show.
Right? Taylor just told everyone my hidden secret. I'm a really big Broadway geek. So yes.
Is it hidden, really?
It's probably not. My love of Broadway and Hallmark movies is pretty well known to everyone who knows me. So it's not hidden.
So the last question I want to ask before we kind of move into the final phase of the show is that typically events, and I mean, we know sports in general is kind of a male dominated field, right? But I think typically what we see, especially in events, in facility management, those kind of things, we see a lot of men in those leadership positions. And so what are some ways, what has your experience been, obviously as a female in the field, and you're the director of game operations and stadium operations for the biggest of all the shows in college football, right? So, I mean, what's your experience been as a woman in the field, A? And then what are some ways that you are trying to create space for other women in the field as you've advanced your career?
Yeah. I've been fortunate that I've been surrounded by great females in the industry, and CFP is one of those. There's many females in many directorial roles. So that's amazing to see. I think, a big thing that I've always remembered is own your seat at the table. I was given, whether it be CFP or my time at Illinois, I was given that opportunity because of my work and what I did. And so I need to remember that and know that if I am the only female at the table, I'm there for a reason. And I worked hard to get there. And so I'm going to own that seat and own that moment that I am in. And so I remember when I started as an athletic trainer, I was a wallflower. Like I was nervous, like, you didn't want to say anything, you didn't want to speak up. And as I've grown into this industry, again, I trust my ability and I don't know everything. No one does. And we surround ourselves with great people and we're always learning. But you realize, hey, I've had these opportunities because of the work I've done, the person I am, the, hopefully the integrity that I've shown and all this combined. And so I remember that, and, even when you don't trust yourself or you lose grace to yourself or you're discouraged at yourself, we all have bad days, but you remember, hey, I'm here for a reason. And so that's really helped me throughout this. I think event management in general, it was very male dominated. I think it's changing a lot. I think maybe it was like that because facilities was maybe the first part of it, and then event management really grew out of that. It's pretty new in all departments of athletics. But I think you see more and more female representation, which is awesome. And, I really try, to give back. And I love seeing people like Taylor, and we talk about this all the time, but seeing people that came through as GAs and interns and where all of you have gone now, even if it's not in athletics or it's in a different realm, it's just amazing to see what females can do. And, we should be applauding each other and lifting each other up because it is great what all of us have done. And so I try to remember that. And again, none of us can do it on our own. So I've been surrounded by great, not only females, but males in the industry that have given me that opportunity to succeed, and hope I'm making each of them proud.
You are. I'll speak as one that has come up through your supervision. You are. Okay. So as promised, we'll jump into kind of the final phase of the show here. So this is the namesake. And the question is, what is one experience or maybe a series of experiences that you've had that you feel has helped you bloom into the person that you are today?
Yes. I'm going to say, it's a great question, Taylor. I'm going to say at Illinois, someone, taking their first chance on me. I didn't know anyone. Everyone always says like, oh, it's who you know and everything. It is, it helps, but you just don't get it because of who you know. You got to be a hard worker and you got to put in the effort and have a great personality and be willing to learn and realize you don't know it all. And so I think, I look back at my time in Illinois and, person sitting as a sophomore answering the phone. Somehow I got the chance to be part of a football season senior year. And without that, I would not be where I am today. So I have to thank many of those individuals at that time that were at Illinois that took a chance at the student answering the phone. And what I say is I love to talk. And I think it helped me. Like people would pass by and I would say, hey, just spark conversation. And I think that really helped. And so, I think that is one thing that really sparked an interest. And again, I wouldn't be where I am today without that. But second, I have to say my parents. I am very close to my family. And I think they instilled in me a work ethic that I have taken with me through all my phases of life, but also a caring and compassionate person. Again, what we do, it's a football game. It's a big football game. And there's a lot of things around it and, need this football game to happen, but it's a football game. And what you need to step back and remember is what makes that football game is the people. And I think I learned that firsthand from my parents at a very young age. And they instilled that into me. And to this day, I hope people around me would say like, they love what I do on the field and what I do in work, but they mostly love the way I am as a person and how I conduct myself. And I think that started with my parents. So I'm going to say those two things have impacted me the most.
Those are good things. Those are definitely good things. Final question.
Yes.
What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Best piece of advice. Well, it was hard to swallow. I was a workaholic at one point back in my early time. And I remember one supervisor at the time I was mad because it was like on a soapbox telling me you're not like all this, but I was really bad. Like would stay and work a lot where if I would have just stepped away and revisited tomorrow, I probably would have been more productive as well. And so I think that took a hard swallow on my part to say, hey, it's okay sometimes to like step away, leave it for tomorrow. You can't get everything done in one day. So looking at that work-life balance, which can be debated, is there really a thing and all this? We're not going to get into that, but really just like making me reevaluate how much time I put into work and know there are things outside of work. So that was a big one. And then just also, delegation I got that from some supervisors as well. And I'm to this day still not the best delegator, but I've had some great feedback from supervisors that have really helped me in this field to get better at that.
Delegation is hard at any point, but those are two great pieces of advice. I actually lied to you. So that was the final question of our discussion, but now we are entering the quick peel round. I've got 4 kind of, off the cuff, first thing that comes to your mind questions, and then a fill in the blank. And then we'll wrap things up.
All right.
Okay. So first one, favorite event that you've ever managed?
Can I have more than one? No.
Just your number one, first thing that comes to mind.
I'm going to say the 2020 National Championship at the Superdome in New Orleans.
That's a good one. Favorite musical?
Taylor, that is the worst question to ask a musical lover who has seen over 60 on Broadway. But I'm going to go for personal reasons, Sweet Charity, because it was the first show I took my dad to in New York on Broadway.
Okay, that's a good. I actually haven't even heard of that show, so I'm gonna have to look it up.
No one I saw.
What would you do if you could have any job in the world?
Oh, I'd be on a Broadway show. I'll take the chorus too. It doesn't have to be a lead, but I'd love to be on a Broadway show.
Awesome. I love that answer. Favorite holiday?
Well, my name is Holly, so I'm going to go with Christmas.
Fair. I think that's probably, general consensus. Like, if you don't like Christmas, maybe there's some other stuff going on, but that's just sad. All right, final one, fill in the blank. Blooming is blank.
Blooming is not being, I had the word out. Blooming is not being okay with just being where you are, not meaning you're always looking to go elsewhere, but always growing into a better version of yourself.
I like it. Blooming is always growing. I like it. Awesome. Well, Holly, like I said, that time actually was the last piece. So we're wrapping up here, but Holly, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you're headed into the busiest season, but I loved having you on and catching up and chatting about everything you've been up to since 2013, as we established.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And I have to say, I'm going to give a shout out to our guest here. That's the host. And I just am so proud of seeing where you have come from, not only as a student athlete at Illinois and then as a GA, but to where you are now and everything you've accomplished. And I know you will accomplish. It makes me very proud, as I've always said, as a mother, almost watching all of you bloom. There we go.
Nice.
Bloom into who you are meant to be. And so I just congratulate you on everything you've done. And I know even greater things are in store. So can't wait to watch.
Well, thank you. You gave us all a good foundation and a good jumping off point, as I said. Again, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Taylor.